Imagine a system so powerful, it quietly controls the wealth of entire nations. A hidden web that keeps banks rich, while ordinary citizens struggle to make ends meet. You've been taught to believe in the fairness of money, but the truth is far darker. Behind closed doors, central banks, financial elites, and secretive institutions have woven a network that ensures the rich stay untouchable, and countries remain trapped in debt, generation after generation. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the secret web that keeps global banks rich and nations poor. To understand today's financial maze, we have to travel back hundreds of years. The concept of national debt isn't new. Kings borrowed from wealthy bankers to fund wars. Governments handed over power, unknowingly, to institutions that could create money out of thin air. Fast forward to the 20th century, and central banks had evolved into the ultimate puppet masters. They don't just manage currency, they control it. Through the magic or trickery of fractional reserve banking, banks can lend more money than they actually hold. That means money itself isn't real. It's a promise, a debt waiting to be repaid. Every loan made by a bank creates new debt. Every nation borrows more to survive, feeding a system that ensures banks grow richer with every passing year. And most people never even notice the chain tightening around them. Take a modern nation. The government needs money to build roads, schools, or hospitals. It doesn't have it, so it borrows from the central bank or private financial institutions. But here's the twist: interest. Every borrowed dollar must be repaid with more dollars that don't exist yet. To cover these costs, governments borrow more. This cycle, a never-ending loop, guarantees the country can never truly escape debt. And who profits the most? The banks, of course. By the time citizens notice rising taxes or economic crises, the money has already flowed to a select few at the top. This is not chaos, this is the design. But it doesn't stop at simple borrowing. Governments and banks employ hidden mechanisms to deepen dependence. Quantitative easing, bailouts, currency manipulation, all terms that sound technical, but share a sinister purpose: to keep nations indebted and citizens compliant. For instance, during financial crises, central banks inject trillions into the system. On paper, it's to stabilize economies. But in reality, it inflates asset prices, making the wealthy richer while ordinary people see no benefit. Housing, stocks, and land skyrocket, creating invisible wealth for the already powerful. Meanwhile, austerity measures hit, the public education budgets shrink, healthcare costs rise, and social services falter. The invisible web tightens, and most citizens never question why. Here's the paradox: every country in the world owes far more than it owns. Combined global debt now exceeds a staggering $300 trillion, a number so large it's almost impossible to imagine. Yet, despite this mountain of debt, banks and creditors continue to thrive, often profiting more during crises than in times of stability. Debt for them isn't a problem, it's the ultimate product. While nations scramble to pay interest, restructure loans, or cut public spending, financial institutions quietly extract wealth through interest payments, derivatives, and complex instruments like credit default swaps that capitalize on economic instability. Take Greece, for example. In the 2010s, its debt crisis forced years of austerity, privatization, and social hardship. Meanwhile, many European banks and hedge funds profited from the turmoil through bonds and short-selling strategies. The system was designed so that human suffering becomes the price of profit. And it's not just isolated cases. From Argentina to Pakistan, nations fall into similar debt traps, often borrowing to service previous loans, creating a cycle that feels unbreakable. The more unstable a country appears, The more leverage banks and global financial institutions gain, influencing policies, economies, and even political decisions. This web isn't visible to the naked eye. It's woven into central banking policies, international agreements, and financial regulations that most citizens will never read or understand. Currency swaps, structural adjustment programs, and sovereign bonds all quietly reinforce the same pattern. Nations remain dependent. Debt rises, and power accumulates at the top. Yet the consequences are everywhere. Poverty deepens, inequality widens, and economic crises hit suddenly, seeming like random disasters. But behind the scenes, these are predictable outcomes. The hidden fingerprints of a global system designed to benefit a few, while keeping the majority trapped in a perpetual cycle of financial struggle. The paradox is clear. While the world collectively owes trillions, the system is rigged so that the more debt grows, the more power and wealth are consolidated by those who control the money itself. In this web, debt is not the enemy, it's the most profitable weapon ever created. So, what does this hidden web of debt and banking power mean for you, the average person? The truth is unsettling. The system isn't just rigged for nations, it's rigged for your life. Every paycheck, every loan, every mortgage, and even your savings are subtly affected. Inflation quietly erodes your purchasing power, often faster than your wages rise. That small increase in the price of groceries, fuel, or rent. It's not random. It's part of a larger system that transfers value from the many to the few. Loans and credit cards may seem like tools for convenience, but in reality, they are chains. Every payment you make, principal plus interest, flows back into the banks, increasing their wealth while keeping you tethered to the system. And when governments raise taxes or cut social programs, it's usually to cover gaps created by the same debt they encouraged you to ignore. Even investments are not safe from this invisible web. Real estate, stocks, and bonds are increasingly controlled by institutional investors who profit from volatility. When a market crashes, ordinary people lose savings, pensions, and homes, while the powerful exploit the chaos to buy assets at a fraction of their value. Yet, awareness is power. Understanding this system allows you to make smarter choices. You can diversify your assets, protect your wealth from inflation, and avoid falling into traps that enrich others at your expense. Financial literacy becomes a shield, a way to navigate a world where the rules are not designed for fairness, but for control. The lesson is clear. This web isn't just about global finance, it's about your life. Every decision you make is influenced by policies, interest rates, and debt cycles you might not even realize exist. But knowledge gives you an advantage. By seeing the system for what it truly is, you step out of the shadows, gaining a chance to protect yourself and, perhaps, even thrive in a world built to keep most people struggling. For deeper insights into the hidden truths of money, debt, and global banking, connect with a U.S. financial historian, the guide who can reveal the secrets history tried to hide.